engineering mind versus engineering degree.
And it's very rare for a Bengali to have that trait. Bengalis are more art oriented. अब कुछ अपना करना मतलब not पैसे कमाने. So I used to travel 18 to 20 days a month in trains. First day of my job, I went around Delhi putting up banners all over the road. So I return home at 4 a.m. and my mother says कल से मत जाना.
अच्छा. When was it then you realized कि यार बस बहुत हो गया अब?
From your work, you're never going to be refreshed.
Yeah.
And if you're not refreshed, you are never going to have new ideas. So we are bootstrapped by accident, not by default, not by design. मतलब हमने बहुत fundraise करने की कोशिश करी. Finally, when they said that they don't have the money, we are not able to do this. 8 to 9 months to come out of that, but the most challenging phase of our business. And overnight, you say I don't want it. It's easier said than done. My CFO is not agreeing that we risk it with a startup.
Is Sunando a happy soul today? Hi all. Welcome to another episode of the FuF Nights by Startup Movers, Founders Unfiltered. And yes, today I am on the opposite side. The side I love the most, at the side of knowing founders, who they really are. Why now, after almost 15 years in this journey? I think storytelling is very important. And it's not just for self-learning or getting to know what kind of resources are needed, but to actually get to know from people who've done this show and help us out in our journeys ahead. Not just in a professional life, but also from a mindset-wise, how it can reflect on our personal lives also. So we've seen a lot of journeys in the last 15 years. Startup ecosystem is mostly about failures. But there are those glimpses of success. There are those stories of grit that can have a lot of learning lessons for all of us. In this journey of episodes that we'll shoot and bring to you, we'll get those journey to you that will have all the flavors, all the recipe of a startup ecosystem, especially an Indian startup ecosystem, of what it actually takes to go the last mile. Today we have somebody whom we have worked with closely over the last almost 10-12 years, ever since we've been into existence. And we've been in the lucky seat to witness all the ups and downs and looking at the team crossing the miles, which we all in some or the other way try to achieve in the startup ecosystem. What is that line? What is the success? How do you measure it? Is it subjective? Can it be objective? Let's get to know it from the person who's looked it from upfront and has crossed the line on his own. So welcome to the episode, Sunando. Before I make any introduction, I would like to draw attention to something I do when I interview candidates. My first question to them, because I already have like this literature that I have today with me, I always ask the same question from them. Tell me more about yourself, apart from what I always see. And 99 out of 100, they always go on to tell me what's written on the resume. So I think everything is out there in this world of information. If somebody wants to know who Sunando is, I think they can get maybe that information also that you don't know about yourself from the open ecosystem. But in this, like I said, we actually want to know the founder here. So why don't we start off by getting to know who Sunando Bhattacharya is? Okay. Over to you.
Okay. First of all, thank you, Sambhav, for having me here. And I'm feeling privileged being the first guest on your podcast. And I'm looking forward to this conversation. Startup Movers and my company, Indicus, has literally grown up together. And so it's great to be part of this podcast. So my first idea of starting something on my own was literally almost out of college. Way back in 2000, a college friend of mine and I registered a domain called paidpuja.com.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, and that domain was what Zomato is today. The intent of that business was what Zomato is today, which is how can we digitize food delivery. He was at Microsoft in India and I was doing whatever I was doing. And 5 days before we were about to put in our papers, the dot-com bust of 2000 happened. Otherwise, we would have started definitely and would have failed miserably. And then God knows what we would be doing after that. But pretty much very early on in our career. So I knew that I always had that entrepreneurial bug, but from 2000, then 13 years it took me another of working in the professional world before I finally said this is it and need to do something more, something different, and that's when Indicus started, and you know the journey after that.
Yeah. So I think we can come to Indicus a little later, but I'll go a little back.
Sure.
Because when we reflect from a lot of founders, we get to know them only when they have become an entrepreneur.
Right.
But one thing I find interesting is to go back in their journey from a childhood to a youth, their background, their upbringing, what are the challenges they face, because it's maybe, I think, 50% society that makes you as a human. So if you go back a little in your childhood, or say your college or school life, or whatever society that you've grown up in, are there any elements that now you reflect that?
Oh, definitely.
And what were those elements? What kind of environment would you say, that was something which very good for me even during childhood?
Both my parents were working, and so from the time coming to school till parents coming home, it was free world for us. We could do anything without any, and we were a nuclear family, so no adult supervision. So obviously we did all the naughty things that kid do, but also use that time to sort of getting to know myself better and what I really want from life. And from pretty much early in my childhood, I would say age of 12 or 13, I had this thing that kuch to karna hai. And it's very rare for a Bengali to have that trait. Bengalis are more art oriented and culture.
Well, I have a question for that. I'll come on that. Yeah,
Right.
Good you touched it. Yeah.
I'm the first entrepreneur in my family.
Yeah.
There have been a few after me, but
Yeah.
I'm literally the first one. And so my thinking has always been, yaar kuch to karna hai. And so I would say from class 8th or 9th, every summer break, I would do something which linked to making money.
Interesting.
So I have run a library for school. So I
Wow.
had this huge book collection. So me and another friend of mine, we will just put our books together and rent out comics and books like Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew and Agatha Christie and all. So that we did early back. I've done road shows where you would go stand outside shops and promote products. Like I remember, I think in class 10th or 11th, I did one for Garnier Laboratories where they're promoting a range of shampoos called Ultra Do, and that launched at that time, and we did that. Oh, been to trade fairs and done that. I've worked at Wimpy's. Remember that chain of restaurants?
Yes.
I worked for 2 months at Wimpy's.
Way before Burger Kings and McD's.
Yeah, Nirula's and Wimpy's were the two chains here. So I worked at Wimpy's. So like that, like every summer or during breaks or even sometimes in evenings, it was just in me. Tuition vision तो बहुत लोग करते हैं, that all done. But they are like different stuff that I've done.
Yeah.
So that's always been my thing. I was also a lot into quizzing. It was a lot of people used to think I like that as a hobby. It was always more about making money because in Delhi quizzing circle, the prize money was very good. Winner quiz, you will get like 3,000 rupees for the team, which is like 4 people, 750 rupees. It's a lot of money. I'm talking about early 90s or late 80s. So that whole mindset, what you see in the Marwadi community, that thinking with money, that was there. But at the same point of time, the background from which we came, both my parents were government servants, so padlo, padhai is most important, etc. So it was always these two mindsets or ideologies at conflict in my head. So that's how I grew up.
Yeah. So you're a first-time entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
I was about to touch that bong touch to it because it's more of an art or a literature, but at the other side there is, a lot of money rotates in Calcutta. There is Marwadi community. So there's extreme of everything. Right? It's let me do my art. I'm happy with my life, and then there is other side. Let me make more of it. Have you ever encountered a conflict on you having that art or literature touch, and then?
Never been so much into art or literature, but music. I think I listen to a lot of Bengali music, and that's been a huge area of interest even now. Like my father was big time into theatre, and he's worked for multiple theatre groups in the city, big ones, and a lot of things. And he was sort of the pioneer so we stay in a small Bengali community called CR Park in Delhi. A lot of people know about it. I'm born and raised there, so because being in that small bubble which is called the mini Calcutta, the culture is very close to you. You see it literally every day, every weekend, something or the other is happening. So that's the environment I grew in. And my father was doing a lot in that. We used to run a club there and be a part of that, go for shows and that. So culture was always very close to the heart. But at the same point of time, maybe my school friend circle or whatever, a lot of people were business. I did commerce in 10+2. So obviously the most of the classmates were coming from a business community. So I think that played a role in sort of, it was a
Interesting.
hybrid mindset that came up.
What was then academics in your life?
So I did my bachelor's in business studies from Delhi University.
Sukhdev College.
Sukhdev College, right. That time it used to just be called College of Business Studies.
Business Studies, CBS.
CBS. So now that's number one in the country, rated for many years.
Yes.
So अभी जितना बड़ा कैंपस है उनका मतलब स्कूल उनका जो भी ग्राउंड उतना बड़ा हमारा कैंपस होता था.
Yes.
We were in Vivek Vihar.
Yeah, I know. Because I failed that entrance, so I know that college. Yeah.
Yeah, and I gave that entrance by chance. You know, one of my seniors got into that college, and I was doing BCom from Bhagat Singh or somewhere College of Vocational Studies, I think. And then he told me, you must appear for this. अच्छा है. ऐसे ही देने चले गए, लिस्ट में नाम आ गया, इंटरव्यू देने चले गए. And I got in on the 6th list. Literally, मतलब पता नहीं 6 लिस्ट निकले भी.
You were meant for it.
Yeah, I was meant for it. So I think 120 enrollments होता है, I was roll number 118 or something. So right. That's how it was destiny that got me there. That college was so far from my house. Think CR Park, think Vivek Vihar.
I can get that.
Going every day and coming back, उसने बंदा बना दिया literally. मतलब changing 3 buses and.
I can get that. There is no direct bus also.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So one from there to ITO, then one from there to Karkaduma,
and Karkaduma to Vivek Vihar. Yes.
3 buses we used to change. Sometime taking a lift or, so that 3 years. I would say my college has been very formative in my personality. Kind of my peers. Again, a lot of the peers coming from business community, and it's a college which is at a very early age would teach you very professional subjects, right? Theory बहुत कम था. In semester wise, they were very rigorous and all. Not that बहुत पढ़ते थे, but my numbers say that I got like 55% in my college aggregate. But the culture in the college, the kind of teaching which was happening, summer training हो रहा है, मतलब think 90s ना कहाँ सा मतलब MBA में ही summer training बहुत बड़ी बात होती थी, and you would go for that. So that really sort of built the character. And something happened in my life when I was in third year. I lost my father, and my father being around, most likely I would have been a CA because my father was a CA.
Oh, he was a CA?
Yeah. After he passed away, mind was like अब कुछ अपना करना मतलब पैसे कमाने. So in my college in third year everybody is thinking cat करके MBA करना. I found it useless because मतलब 3 साल वही पढ़ाई करी, अब 2 साल वही repeat. मैं सोचा कुछ साल gap देते, let's work for some time and then go and do an MBA. That never happened, but at least so few companies would come to our campus, and I was lucky to get through.
So you're not even an MBA then?
I'm not.
I mean, why I'm using that negative sentences to highlight that degree is not that critical. So,
I think, but you meet guys from CBS. It's been in the news for some good reasons. Last year, out of the top 5 rank holders at IMA, 4 were from CBS.
Okay.
Yeah, and then some Harvard case study competitions they won. Proper Harvard case study competitions.
You're touching my nerve again. I said I failed that college, so good to know.
So
I
always produced good people.
Absolutely. I always have a perception it's a mini IIM of our country. So the brains are getting groomed and
junior IIM. Yeah.
Good. I mean, then you understood business as an academics.
Definitely.
Then probably you went into a job. What was your first job?
My first job was with a small computer training institute out of Southern India. I don't know if they exist anymore, called SSI. My boss was also an alumni of CBS. That's how he was hiring from there. Otherwise, ज़्यादा लोग आते नहीं थे उस time campus. And they were starting in Delhi and were launching in Delhi. And he was hired to set up the operations here. And he was building his team. So I joined them as a management trainee and did pretty crazy things. First day of my job, I went around Delhi putting up banners all over the road, all the roads, because उस अगले दिन कॉलेज कैंपसेस खुलने वाले थे and you're trying to get students to sign up for these courses. So I return home at 4 a.m. and my mother says कल से मत जाना. So that's how was my initiation into the professional world. And I worked there for like 6 months, then went on to another computer training company, worked there for a year and a half. That was very interesting, the second job, because there they were franchising and I was handling East India sitting in Delhi. So I used to travel 18 to 20 days a month in trains.
Wow.
Delhi se Patna, Patna se Bokaro, Dhanbad, Calcutta, Bhubaneswar, and sometimes to Northeast and all. That also, I think traveling is really a amazing learning experience. You really get to see cultures, you get to meet very interesting people. Delhi mein baith ke na, you're in a cocoon. And you go and see tier 2, tier 3 cities and how people think and work there.
Right.
Huge learning curve.
I think the real India is in tier 2 only. I mean,
Absolutely.
Even much more now rather than 20 years back. The real growth is coming from the tier 2 towns. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then I think you worked with Airtel also at some point of time.
No, I didn't go to Airtel. I worked for a company called SpectraNet.
Okay.
And I was at SpectraNet for about 4 years. Then I joined another startup who was a Bombay-based ISP who was setting up shop in India, in Delhi. So I worked with them for a year. Then I went to SIFI, a couple of years there. Then I went to Orange, a couple of years there. I've never worked long anywhere. I would get bored too quickly.
तो आपने वो बहुत सही सेंटेंस बोला था ना, engineering mind versus engineering degree.
Right.
So I think you during your corporate life वो बहुत बार इवेंट हुआ होगा ये क्या हो रहा है, मतलब corporate life ये क्या हो रहा है, अभी भी होता है क्या? तो what was that moment कि ये क्या हो रहा है, ये क्या हो रहा है, तो बहुत बार हो गया क्योंकि हर 2 साल में कुछ नया हो रहा था, तो हर बार ये क्या हो रहा है नया corporate था. When was it then you realized कि यार बस बहुत हो गया, मतलब अब नहीं, अब तो कुछ.
So it happened in 2 stages. So I did a second stint in SpectraNet under the new owners, and then after 2 years I sort of decided कि कुछ बन नहीं रही बात, and things are not happening the way I want to do, so let me see what I can do on my own. So I quit, but I didn't have a plan. I put in my papers.
Okay.
But मैंने सोचा नहीं था कंसल्टिंग कर लेंगे, एडवाइजरी कर लेंगे, कुछ तो करेंगे, but no plan really in place. After 2 weeks I realized कुछ तो गलत decision ले लिया.
Correct. I was about to ask that question कि वो कब हुआ?
Thankfully, one of my customers got to know, not my customer, one of my service providers. So Spectra was running its data center from inside NetMagic, जो भी entity हो गया.
Yes.
So NetMagic MD got to know, I put in my papers, and he was looking for a senior resource in his team. So he approached me, मैंने बोला very good, कर लेते हैं. So I took that up, but I only worked there for 10 months because वो एक दिमाग में आ गया था, कुछ करना है. But in that 10 months, a plan came about.
Right.
Met some people, got together. You know Manas, so
Yes.
Manas and I met in that period, and then we said, अच्छा चलो IT में एक services company करते हैं. Shiv, I pulled in Shiv at that point of time, and then when I was sort of ready, मतलब अभी मतलब clear नहीं था, but at least एक team था, and 2 लोग तो थे कंधा देने के लिए एक दूसरे को. तो so 10 months later, I actually resigned within 6 months, and I served a 4-month notice period.
Oh, is it?
Or 5-month notice period, right?
Understood.
Yeah. I said I'll find my replacement, and then only I will.
And you had a comfort when you took that jump of entrepreneurial journey that I'll see through, or was it कूद तो गया यार अब देखी जाएगी?
नहीं, I would say still momentary lapse of reasoning उस time, but I was debt free. I didn't have major expenses. I was staying in my own house, so वो सब तो नहीं था. But I just had kids. I was a parent to a father to 2-year-old twins. My wife she was working. She just started her HR consulting, so she was also just finding her way around. So at such a point, taking this decision and running. देखो आपने 15 साल नौकरी करी ना, get used to that money hitting an account every first, and overnight you say I don't want it. It's easier said than done. So and the later you take the call in your life, the tougher it gets because the money keeps on getting bigger, the check size keeps on getting bigger. So it was tough, but the hindsight we pulled it through, and we got into much bigger shit later on. A lot of it, So, but we managed through. Yeah, I think. But yes, there are many nights I would doubt that decision.
So let's come to Indicus now. I mean, that's the baby you've created and matured and then took an exit also. Why the name Indicus in the first place, and what was Indicus about?
We never started out as a startup. We were more of a services company की cloud में कुछ services करेंगे, IT services, system integration करेंगे. And one of the thoughts initially was कि we will build services for the US market and we'll support the US market. उस time एक trend भी चल रहा था कि getting outsourced managed services from US company. So, and this name was coined by Manas. So, Indie is India, Q is quality, and US is US. So that's how the name came.
So 13 years we never knew that. Thank you for telling us. India, quality, US. Okay. Very interesting.
High quality services from India to US. That's how the name came. So, although we changed the name later, you know that. So
yes.
To Applicability.
Correct. How important is the brand name then? You said that at initial thought, the thought was India, quality US. But is the name important, or is it the
It
execution?
depends on what business you're in.
Yeah.
If you're in a B2C business where you're building our identity around that brand, obviously very critical. In our kind of business, services business, it's more about the people and the service you're offering than really the brand. But yes, at scale, your brand becomes your identity. So you start relating the brand with either good service or bad service. But for a startup at our stage, it doesn't matter. But also, when we sort of pivoted to a product story, your brand also has to relate to the product you're doing. You can't just say a random story about your brand and which doesn't relate to a product. And that's why we sort of rebranded our GTM to Applicability.
Yeah. So how were the first 3 months when you took that entrepreneurial jump? Incorporation, how was incorporation experience? How was the feeling when you got that memorandum and certificate? Maybe you can run us through.
Definitely initial high तो रहता ही है यार, कुछ नया करने, कुछ उखाड़ेंगे, वो तो रहता ही है. But very first learning, honestly, was that कोई सगा नहीं है. People who you thought, I was a senior sales guy in the industry, so was Manas. So we had a Rolodex of 100 plus senior IT leaders in Delhi and Mumbai, I would say. And we realized that the relationship was pretty much largely because the organization card you were carrying from. Right? When you're on your own, people question you, right? I won't name the company, one of the largest startups from this country even today, listed company. Their CIO, even today, is a very good friend. Now he's no longer with the company. And he said, हाँ आजा कुछ करते हैं, and he put out a problem statement. I told you we have a perfect solution for it. I said, okay, do a POC, and we did a 2-month POC. Under a 2-month POC, we rented some hardware and we spent money, etc. And everything went well. All the things he wanted in the POC went through. When it finally came to giving dhanda, he said, my CFO is not agreeing that we risk it with a startup. And 2 years later, I realized he has built everything in-house.
Oh man. Okay.
Exactly what we were doing. Because we are an open source technology.
Right.
ऐसा कुछ हमारा IP नहीं था उसमें. Just a integrator of certain technology services. They got to understand the blueprint from us, and then they sort of built it. And they had the resources which we didn't have, so they could do it much faster.
So there are many new stories coming up that I was not aware of. But good that you're covering that. Despite of all this that happens, at the end of the day, you have to show resilience to cross the line.
Absolutely.
Okay, Sunando. So we have touched upon your academic background, corporate life, how Indicus bug bit you. But we actually want to understand, though we understood the brand name, but as a non-techie, I might not be able to understand what Indicus or your acquisition or your product Applicability was. So maybe if you can break down of what your company was about, what were you doing, and what are you still doing?
Sure.
Yeah.
Applicability is actually our brand now, or when we exited, and that is our product also. So Applicability, to make it very simple for you, it's like Shopify for any cloud service provider. So if you think of cloud, you think of 3 names: AWS, Google, Azure, Microsoft Azure. Right? These are 3 big players who dole out credits for startups and all. But they're only present in few large markets. जैसे इंडिया में है, and Singapore, और Asia context like Middle East में एक देशों में. But if you look at governments all over the world, they are bringing in laws in place where they say कि our country's data has to be inside our country. And if you look at a UN website, UNCTAD website, there are 140 countries who have laws in place for data localization, which means any personally identifiable data for any citizen of the country has to be there. So telecom data, healthcare data, government data, all that has to be in the country. But अगर services ही नहीं चलेंगी तो फिर कहाँ से होगा? So what a platform like ours enables is, in any such country where some local telco, ISP, data center provider wants to launch a cloud service, they need a software platform to run it, because cloud is a mix of hardware, server, storage, network, and software. So we have built an end-to-end platform solution which we are able to deploy and run software, run it as a platform as a service on-prem in the customer's data center. And my customers essentially become cloud service providers in their local geographies. So that was the business model. Post the IOTA acquisition, now this is also being used to power a lot of sovereign cloud services in India. So we have deployed it with the government of India, with STPI, with NIC, and very soon a lot of the large government websites applications will start operating on top of this platform.
So it's become a very integral part of, we would say, India's cloud
Absolutely,
network.
yeah,
Very
absolutely.
interesting, very interesting.
Yeah.
I think co-working also played a very important role in your initial journey.
Absolutely. Yeah. So first 4 months we were working out of the basement of my house, right?
Yeah.
So and it was pretty sad, there's four of us sitting looking at each other and not knowing what to do. And then somebody told us about 91 Springboard, and that's how we
Yeah.
also met. And we walk into this amazing space, basement of a building, and not in a great state, but
Yeah.
what energy! The
Yeah.
energy, the vibe of that place was outstanding. And moment we entered, I think 10 seconds we decided this is where we need to work from.
Yeah.
And that really, even today, I tell any startup that if you want to build a company, don't, even if you are 3 people, go out of work out of a co-working space. But one thing I realize these days, most of the co-working space, the styling has changed. That open floor plan is really gone away. It's like
Yeah.
the WeWorks and the Office of the world.
Yeah.
They're all creating those cubicles, and that creates the silos.
Right.
What I really liked about 91 Springboard, I don't know if they still maintain that design, is that it was all open, right? Everybody was sitting in an open floor.
Yeah.
That really sort of created the vibe. That's where we met Kshitish, that's where we
Right.
met you, and so many great people, there's a long list of people we
Absolutely.
met there.
Absolutely. How important is a community for an early stage business, especially, and especially somebody who's starting up? How they should leverage community around them?
What community allows you to do is sort of think and work like a large company without actually being one. Because let's say you're a tech startup, you're 3 techies who started the company. Now, ठीक है, आप लोग कोड लिख लोगे, प्रोडक्ट बना लोगे, कुछ ना कुछ, you'll stand up something. But there are many facets of the business. If you look at the back end side, you have accounting, you have finance, you have legal, you have HR. You have to figure all that shit out. Then you on the front end side, you have marketing, you have selling. So if you're in a place where there is an accounting firm like Startup Movers working, there is a HR company which is helping you with hiring, there is a legal firm, and now Startup Movers, I understand, is doing all of this right now. And then there is a digital marketing agency, there is some company which is helping in selling, lead gen.
Yeah.
So you sort of are able to network and help each other out and feed each other out. And I still remember a lot of the things we did there were on barter. Like we will help somebody out with their tech, somebody will help us out with something. And, that's how, a lot of things happened for all the startups who are operating from there.
Yeah.
So that is the advantage of working in a community. Plus, as founders, the whole idea of discussing your problems, brainstorming with other founders
Yeah.
and
Like-minded folks. Yeah.
like-minded folks, and everybody is going through the same
Exactly.
challenges, right? So that's the benefit, right?
Yeah. Just adding a little masala to this conversation. You're a lefty,
Yeah.
right? So do you feel lefties are more analytical mind, more artistic? Because in my circle, whosoever are lefties are a little exceptional folks.
I don't know about that, but I'm pretty analytical. That's true. And I very data driven. So
Yeah.
data is very important for anything. Most of my decision making is data. Initially, I used to do a lot of gut based, but now I have sort of largely shifted to data driven decision making. So that is pretty much.
You are a left arm batsman, or
Left arm
you play
batsman,
cricket?
left arm bowler. We played together.
Yes.
if you remember.
So I have a memory for you. Yeah. Can you just press once? Yes. So you
Oh,
remember?
wow.
Yeah. So this is
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah,
or
Manas
16,
is also
yeah.
there. Yeah.
So there's your ex co-founder. There's Manoj.
There's Kripal then. Shiv's.
Kripal is there.
assistant.
Ashish is there. He's still with us.
Yeah.
So
This is Saket, right?
this is Jesus and Mary College.
Jesus and Mary College. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So so cricket is still going on, or how is it?
यार अभी तो 2 साल से बंद है. I hurt my knee and उसके बाद थोड़ा बंद है. But this year I intend to get back because I need to lose a lot of weight to
Yeah.
start playing. So
Yeah.
अभी already started the process. So maybe season comes I'll start again. Kit wit सब रखा हुआ है.
Right.
Yeah. But I miss it. That was my
Yeah.
go-to thing Sunday morning.
So the thing I wanted to touch upon was it's possible for you to be yourself whenever you're building a business also. I mean,
And-
is there a perception of 70 hours, 80 hours and...
वो मेरे हिसाब से crazy है. If you don't cut back from your work, you're never going to be refreshed.
Yeah.
And if you're not refreshed, you are never going to have new ideas. वो आप खुद को ही burn कर लोगे. मतलब burnout will happen so fast you won't even realize. That cutting out on a Friday evening.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you a story. There was a period in between मैंने कहा यार और मेहनत करनी and 6 day week करते हैं.
Right.
काफ़ी रेजिस्टेंस हुआ एंड it said नहीं करते हैं. 2 महीने चला एंड रियलाइज एक तो सैटरडे को कुछ काम नहीं हो रहा था, आके गप्पे मार रहे थे, मैं भी गप्पे मार रहा था, बाकी लोग भी गप्पे मार रहे थे एंड पीपल हैव टू ट्रैवल, इट्स पेनफुल एंड मंडे मॉर्निंग नोबडी इज लुकिंग फ्रेश, राइट, एंड इंक्लूडिंग मी. सो देन आई 2 months later I realized not worth it. हमने मंडे टू फ्राइडे 1 घंटा बढ़ा दिया एंड एवरीबडी वाज हैप्पी टू डू दैट, राइट. सो ही सेड rather than working a day extra, let's work an hour extra every day and get it through, and everybody was happy doing that, and that really changed. So that cutting out was very important. So cricket to chal hi raha tha. One thing I started in this during my entrepreneurial period was motorcycling.
We'll come to that.
Yeah. And that is something which really, that's something I'm going for a ride tomorrow.
Nice.
So that's something I still do pretty actively.
Perfect. So good to know about your left brain, right brain alignment, and I still have a bias on lefties being a little more analytical, different. So let's just go ahead with the Indicus journey, because I have seen it upfront on early days, and I think everything has happened in your this startup journey that a co-founder will ever think about not happening.
Correct.
Right. So let's just talk about the first topic of how to find the right co-founder or team to work with. What is it you looked out for? Did it work? Did it not work? How did you solve for it? Because I've been always speaking on various forums on successful startups going shut down because of either investor conflict or a co-founder conflict. I think some of that should have always happened. It always happens in each startup journey. Anything that has happened, what were your outcomes? How did you circle out of it?
Okay. So experience so when we started out, we were 3 of us. The 4th sort of co-founder, but he stepped out like in a month, so he's still a very good friend. So it was me, Manas and Shiv. Manas and I come from a sales background and Shiv was a techie, right? Now, when we started, we were thinking IT services करेंगे, but then साथ में हमने system integration का भी काम शुरू किया, regular supplying hardware, setting up office setups and doing all that, and we did a few orders. But between 13 when we started and by middle of 15, 2 साल में I realized I'm not cut out for that business, and अगर really कुछ of value build करना है तो we have to go the product route, because ये services तो करते रहेंगे, थोड़ा बहुत cash flow is okay, but you're not creating any value. And honestly तब तक वो startup बग थोड़ा लग भी चुका था. 15 is when the startup boom started happening in India and all the big names started happening. So little bit of that bug and little bit of understanding of what we were doing, and we got into 2 system integration deals where we lost a lot of money, and because of most of it due to not because of our mistake, somebody else. And India mein, you know, paisa nikalna is a big challenge.
Yeah.
And here is where you're supplying a lot of hardware. You're buying it, paying for it, supplying it, and not getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Right? So as a trading setup, मेरे को वो समझ नहीं आ रहा था कि I've never done that as a profession, so I wasn't getting the value of it. So that's when I sort of decided to come out of that business. Unfortunately, Manas's background entirely was system integration. He has always done that in his life. He had run his own SI company in Bhubaneswar, then in Delhi he had worked with some large system integrators. So he wanted to continue doing that. So in 2015 we realized that our goals are different from what we want to achieve out of Indicus. And Shiv and I were old friends from SpectraNet, so he wanted to do one kind of thing, Manas wanted to do something else. So we asked Manas to step out. Now the learnings. First and foremost, we didn't have a co-founder agreement. And that was a big challenge. You exactly know what all happened, so I won't get into the details. But not having a co-founder agreement is one of the biggest mistakes multi-founder companies can do.
Yeah.
And it can really kill a startup. Thankfully, we could find a solution which has cost us a lot, but we found a solution at that point of time. Very important. Second is founder chemistry, right? Just because you're a techie, I'm a sales guy, and there's a product guy, doesn't make us natural fit. You know, your mindset, your ideology most importantly, what are you seeking as the end goal?
Yeah.
That has to match. And a lot of people don't go through that check. I was talking to a school friend of mine who is joining hands with a couple of much younger guys and, sort of becoming a part of their startup. He also happens to be a CA. And I told him exactly this, that, you're a perfect fit if you look at it mathematically. You exactly what they need and what they don't have. But you also need to look whether you can work with, a couple of founders who are 15, 20 years younger to you, may have very different life objectives and very different. So you should have those conversations also. That's very important. So co-founder agreement and ensuring that physics, chemistry सब match करे. Maths तो होना ही चाहिए, but that's very important.
But do you think there's no free will to that, because at the end of the day you're just making a choice based on certain variables?
True. Yeah, co-founders are like shadi yaar. You take the best bet. As long as you have done enough due diligence and checked it, बाद में तो यार anything can go wrong. But at least at some level you are aligned, and then rest you leave to destiny.
So I still not solve this equation, because मैंने ऐसे स्टोरीज देखी जहाँ पे लगा स्कूल फ्रेंड्स बहुत अच्छे को-फाउंडर होंगे, वहाँ भी दिक्कत हो गई. हस्बैंड वाइफ अच्छे को-फाउंडर होंगे. ऑफ कोर्स देयर आर स्टोरीज, बट
एक्सेप्शंस है, जो भी स्टोरीज एक्सेप्शन.
देयर इज नो क्लियर कट वेरिएबल टू दिस दैट यू कैन पुट अ क्वेश्चन एंड सॉल्व इट.
दोस्तों को चैलेंज नहीं कर सकते, राइट? इफ यू आर सेट गेटिंग इनटू अ बिजनेस विद अ फ्रेंड, बियॉन्ड अ पॉइंट उनको पुश नहीं कर सकते, बिकॉज योर फैमिली रिलेशनशिप्स, आपके वाइफ्स दोस्त होंगे, आप लोग सोशली मीट करते हो बहुत, तो आप उसको प्योरली प्रोफेशनल एंड एज co-founders you have to push each other, right? Because that's how the company will grow, and everybody realizes that.
Absolutely.
वो करना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है in a friendly kind of a scenario. So when school friends become partners, or college buddies become partners, there are success stories definitely where friends or couples have done it, but in my opinion I would not do it. If I have to do another startup down the line, I always pick up somebody from my professional circle to work with. I may be very close to that person, but our core bonding has to be professional, so that then we can make each other accountable. Right?
Or you can say, but the one that I kind of feel it's right, but like I said, it's not a free will. I can be challenged at any given point of time. Maybe if your value systems are almost, they will never be identical, but if they are majority in consensus to each.
I'm seeing my experience. I'm essentially talking from that, so I have a personal bias there. But anyone like Shiv and I are very dear friends. We've known each other for 2.5 decades now. But our core friendship is professional. We are working together at some point of time, right? So therefore, that accountability with each other was there. Shitish is somebody we met in Springboard, and again, in a way, it was a professional acquaintance. Right?
Yeah.
So that's how. And today we hang out, we go out for drinks together. All that is there.
Yeah.
But when we are working, we question each other. So that's there.
There are very dynamic stories in your co-founder club. You both are non-techies, but you have built a tech company. Yes. One of your other, Kshitij, I know he plays metal or rock. He's a lead guitarist in a band.
Yeah.
So quite a good chemistry there.
Kshitij is a rock star, and he sort of changed our entire trajectory once he came on board. So Manas exited in 15. Kshitij came on board in 17. And he was running his own startup called Dartboard, and he was also doing a design product consulting company called
Paperkite, yeah.
Right. You have said everything, right? So, and I sort of started consulting him for our product design. Within 1 month, we realized that we should join hands and become part of one team.
Yeah, so since the image is already out there and we have a different section coming up, why I have posted a photo like this is a dream for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
This is for us a wallpaper that we put on a desktop. You've done this, right? As a founder who's built a company's bottom up from zero, ran it for 10, 12 years, and then got a time for doing and living a dream also. How important was this for you?
Yeah. I have a story there. So somebody asked me finally after the exit that, what's the reason for your success? And my only answer was because we never gave up. And this plays a very important part in that, because we didn't make our startup the only thing in our lives, all of us, right? Kshitij, is making into trail running now.
Yeah.
So Kshitij's story very interesting. We were playing cricket, and one day he got tired running 2 runs.
Okay.
And he said, this is not done. I'm all of 30, 32, and this can't happen to me. And today he's doing trail marathons. He's done 100 kilometers ultra, and all that. And Shiv and I are nowhere close to that. So we realized that kuch to karna hai, which takes you away from work and also still challenges you in a very different way. So motorcycling, I used to do a lot of motorcycling as a kid. I had a Bullet and all. In 2018, I got back, and then obviously for every biker in this country, Ladakh is a dream.
Yeah.
So today I proudly say I've been to the 3 highest points in the world.
Nice.
On my bike, and Umlingla, Kela, and
Khardungla.
Yeah. Khardungla is the third highest.
Third highest, yeah.
So this was on our first trip. So 2 months later, I did exact trip with my family in a car, and then again a third trip on a bike, separate part of Ladakh.
Nice. Yeah, this is a BMW, right?
This is a BMW.
Nice. Yeah. For us, it's a wallpaper, but you've seen it.
Yeah, I have some even more beautiful. Yeah. So one secret about Ladakh, Pangong is the famous lake. Other lake, which is So Moriri, lesser known lake, is even more beautiful than this. एक तो बहुत कम लोग जाते हैं.
The lesser it's known, the beautiful
it doesn't become Lajpat Nagar on holidays.
Yeah. Just to wrap up that topic, because I think we touched upon it, but we took a learning lesson. As a co-founder, if we end up in that kind of a situation and we don't have a co-founder agreement, what is the repercussion? What should be our mindset to solve that situation and equation?
At that point, when we decided to exit, Manas had just bought a car in the company's books, right? But it was his car, and he was paying it through his salary. So he just told us that, you just give me the car, and that's my settlement. We had a few discussions around that, and we did that. Thankfully, it came to that, but otherwise, we would have had to exit, restart, and that becomes a big challenge. So you have to look at the larger picture. If you don't have a co-founder agreement, be ready to give away some things which you may not think is fair. But in the larger interest of whatever you have built till that day, if that still aligns with your vision, go ahead. If you feel that you don't have much to lose, leave and start something new.
Do you think it happened at the right time? Maybe a little later would have been a little vulnerable.
Of course. Because 15 days of us signing the exit with Manas, we signed our first major product contract with Intel. Yeah. So it just happened perfectly timed.
Do you think academics plays a role whenever you were jumping into an entrepreneurial spirit?
Entrepreneurship is just a mindset game. Yeah. How long are you willing to give it?
Absolutely.
The moment you give up, it'll be gone before you
even realize that something has gone wrong. Yeah.
That resiliency is the most important trait. If the person has that, then you'll keep on going.
You've started up, you've run the show, you also dealt with a very important milestone of how to manage a co-founder and still run the show. Then from there on, what were you tracking as a business owner? What were the 2-3 things you were tracking very closely? What helped you scale faster? What was the mindset, say, after 1, 2, 3 years when things started stabilizing?
If you look at our journey, broadly break it up into 3 parts. Part 1, 2013 to early 16, when we were doing purely services. 16 to late 19, when we were building a product and doing services. And 20 onwards, when we were essentially a product-led services
business, yeah.
Services business. 22 exit. ये 3 part में. First part was all about building a run rate. Go out, get business, deliver it, get the money. Like any services business, you are running. Right? Thankfully, in that period, we had built up some cash reserve, and we realized that अगर हमें product build करना है, A, we need a customer, and B, we need to fund it through a services business. Services तो बंद नहीं कर सकते हम. जो मैं advice मिल रहा था हर जगह से, shut down services, go build a product. That was insane, and we never thought कि वो viable है हमारे लिए at least. So we continued building our services business. We got out of any kind of trading. So 2015 के बाद, once Manas exited,
that happened only then.
हाँ, उसके बाद we didn't do any kind of buying and selling.
Okay.
Anything we were doing was
service
building,
tech,
doing services, tech services, consulting services, advisory, that kind of stuff. So while we were building the product, we continuously pushed the envelope in terms of हम product development कितना accelerate कर सकते हैं by putting more resources. There was no AI back then, so humans had to write all the code.
Absolutely.
So taking very, very meager salaries, ensuring that the system is building and all. Once the product came out, and while we were building the product, we had Airtel as an anchor customer initially, and then we got a customer in Oman, we got a customer in Nepal. So आप कह सकते हो beta customers. आपका product literally इनके साथ बनता गया. मतलब while we had a first version ready in 6 months, but like any startup first version sucks, so our
You're
product
building
also
with the
sucks.
customer.
Building. So we built the product from 16 to 19 with 3 customers, right?
Interesting.
And in 19, maybe October is when we realized ki good to take to a larger market. So we started selling, and most of our customers are outside India. That one call we took pretty early कि अगर ये धंधा बड़ा करना है, you have to focus outside India. And our research told us that emerging markets was a better place for us. Today, hindsight, I don't agree with that. Maybe we should have gone after larger markets. But that time, our research told us that's a better market. So we are selling in Africa, Middle East, Southeast Asia, etc. October, November, we went live, and March में COVID आ गया. When COVID hit us, that was my first scary moment in this entire journey. बहुत कुछ हुआ, but डर कभी नहीं लगा था. That was the time when I realized that अब कैसे धंधा बढ़ाएंगे. Because all of us came from very traditional business mindset. हमने जो नौकरी भी करी, जो भी सीखा, we didn't know about digital marketing. हमें HubSpot नहीं पता था क्या था, you know.
So interesting.
So one of my friends, I don't know if you know him, Neil Kothari. He runs a startup right next door to you, and I called him up. I said, "Yeah, this is the scenario. How do we sort of get going?"
Yeah.
And so he put in touch with his marketing head Vivek, and Vivek did a boot camp for us. Told us HubSpot नामक एक चीज़ होती है और account based marketing क्या होता है, and literally the new age way to sell. And me, Shitish, and we had another colleague called Rishabh. हम तीनों ने बैठ के we learned the whole process, how to build a pipeline, how to build a campaign, how to run it, how to scale that whole process. And this is while we were all in lockdown, right? And in August that year, we hired our first digital marketing guy, or digital marketing / sales guy. And with him, we started this new journey. We really got lucky in COVID because after go live, we onboarded 2 more customers. 5 or 6 live product users थे हमारे. And for us, one product user gives very sizable revenue. Right?
B2B, yeah.
Our MRR was pretty high. Because COVID hit, the demand for cloud computing went up. Right? So our billing with our existing customers went up rapidly.
Yeah.
And that's why we sustained. We didn't have to cut any jobs. We didn't have to cut salaries. We couldn't hire more. We couldn't do much. But existing business sustained, and we were able to continue without much discomfort. We reinvented our entire go-to-market. उससे पहले हमारा model था, we had partners all over, signed up partners all over the world, and we'd go to these industry events and work through these partners and get customers, and that's how we were building the business. But that partner network went away, no access to the customer. Now to restart this whole process and build this whole account-based marketing campaign. It took us almost 14 months finally to get things going, with COVID happening, with multiple iterations. First shot of mails, I think we got 1 response out of 1,000 emails. So we realized, yes, bad tira. Huge learning curve. 21 mid is when we finally got it right. And between then and then, finally when we exited, we were working in 20 plus countries, doing pretty good. That scale happened in those 2 to 3 years.
Correct. So then my learning out of this was ask for help when you need it, right? I mean, that's very important.
Again, that whole community becomes very, very important. There are enough experts sitting within the community. Today I'm part of 3-4 communities. I'm part of Super Morpheus. I'm part of SaaS Boomi. I'm part of SLP, NASCOM. And across 8 to 10 WhatsApp groups, I'm connected to maybe 2,000, 2,500 entrepreneurs. And आज तक तो नहीं हुआ कि I have needed some help, I couldn't find somebody in those communities to help.
The power of community.
Absolutely. Very, very important.
I wanted to talk about fundraise, but then I realized you never raise funds. You were always bootstrapped.
Thankfully, I was bad at it.
Have you got the thought of it that...
Oh, we tried desperately. Like every startup, हमें तो यही सीखा था हमने startup से बात करके, funding नहीं मिली तो तुम कुछ नहीं हो. So we are bootstrapped by accident, not by default, not by design. मतलब हमने बहुत fundraise करने की कोशिश करी. We got couple of term sheets also. एक बार टर्म शीट आया और साइन करने से पहले पुल बैक हो गया. सेकंड जिस वीसी ने टर्म शीट दिया वो बंद हो गई. द फ्रॉड हैपेंड बिटवीन 2 partners in the VC and that shut down. So and in hindsight, thankfully that happened because वो पैसा आ जाता ना, honestly मुझे पता नहीं था क्या करते हैं, वो कहाँ पहुँचते. Because I've seen good bootstrap companies post fundraise going crazy and losing the plot. Our bootstrap mentality, जो उसको popularly call it the cockroach mentality, where you are sort of having that frugal mindset, approaching everything, is one of the reasons again that we persisted and we stayed in the race for so long and finally got the success we got.
So my favorites are always cockroach startups. I mean, I've never been we've seen 3 unicorns in the portfolio already, but we are proud to say we have 200 cockroaches that we love to work with. So that's an interesting conversation to do. When you failed to do the fundraise, what was that mindset? I mean, that because once प्लेट में खाने को नहीं है तो टीम को क्या दोगे?
Remember the day हम 3-4 सीनियर लोग बैठे थे and we got to know first VC pulled back the term sheet. 1 hour later we were sitting in beer cafe having beer. Literally दारू से गम बुलाते वही कर रहे थे and we had no clue अभी क्या करेंगे आगे. We have had 3 incidences. Actually third incident is the big one which we'll talk about. I think what happened right before the acquisition. When you get into fundraising, your focus moves away from business.
Absolutely.
It is impossible for a CEO to do both the things together. Either you have a business head and then as a CEO you are chasing fundraise, or you're a CFO chasing fundraise, and as a CEO you're running the business.
Yeah.
दोनों चीज एक साथ करना next I didn't have the capability. Maybe some people have. Most CEOs can't do that. Most founders can't do that. So every time we missed the fundraise, we had to do a lot of hard work to get back on track. Because वो 3-4 महीने में ना गाड़ी literally पटरी से उतरने वाली थी.
True.
That's a challenge which anybody chasing a fundraise and while running a scaling bootstrap business, अगर आप early stage हो तो फिर तो उतना फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. But once you've got into revenue, you have customers, you have partners, you have employees, and you have to keep the whole boat sailing. You really can't take your eyes off it for fundraise because it will derail your business.
Do you think you scaled a little? I mean, you would have scaled much faster if the funds were there, or you think no, this was good, it was blessing in disguise, we were in the right place?
We might have been at 2x, 3x revenue of what we were. We might have got maybe 2x, 3x value, but finally founder के जेब में उतना ही आता because VC बाकी ले जाता, right? So I don't think as founders we would have made more than what we have made given the business we were in.
When you face that fund crunch कि भाई पैसा नहीं है, तो as a founder, what were the strategies? How did you maneuver? Was debt a survival mode or how?
Yes, so debt was always around. So either me and Shiv putting in our personal money temporarily, or finally we took some OD lines from bank when we had good records because of running business. So we got some small OD lines. We also at the end took a term loan when the last debacle happened in 23. We took a term loan which sort of needed to sustain us for some time. So debt is your friend. If you have a good cash flow business, debt is your friend. And now there's some very interesting startups which are helping other startups with short-term, slightly costly, but quick debt to manage your cash flow. So I think that is a good option now available. But at the same point of time, as a founder, you cannot be revenue focused, you have to be cash focused. Because revenue is a facade, right? What really finally matters is the cash coming into your business. If your business is growing rapidly but your customers are not paying on time, it's a death knell for your business. So you really have to be cash focused, cash flow focused.
So let's move on to a very critical aspect of team. I mean, I know the chill factor. That is why we are talking. I mean, I've seen it from day one. You being chill yourself, and I know that culture has also been around with the team. But culture eats strategy for breakfast. How did you build and keep I know how you kept it, but I know the parties and all. But what goes from a founder mindset to keep a team happy and motivated?
See, as a startup, you're never paying the best salaries. You're never giving a fancy work environment. You're running out of basements. You're doing your own thing. So finally, it's the culture which people hang on to, right? Salary hike will make somebody happy for 15 days.
Absolutely.
A good culture will keep people happy for 365 days. That's a fact. So having that culture going, and our office was, every Friday was a party in our office, which was a fact. So literally दारू पीने के लिए बहाना चाहिए था, तो बहाना भी तो बना देते थे. That was one. But I'll tell you one sort of a con for that, which somebody pointed out. So we had a HR person who came on board for a very short period as a consultant, and she did a sort of a study in the company, and she pointed this out, but that if your organization becomes too chill, which I think we were, sometimes that whole drive towards productivity
Goes
slows
for a
down.
toss. Yeah.
Pushing each other hard, that hustle mentality has to continue. Towards the later part of our journey, I think we sort of softened up a bit, and even as bootstrapped, I think we would have easily could be 20-25% above where we were, or maybe 50% above where we were as a stage. But that had, I would still say, we couldn't isolate the chill part and the work part perfectly, which you need to do. That when you're working, it's damn serious and the hustle is real, and when you're chilling, right?
And I think it's very difficult to create a line. Is there a way to blend to?
It is, but you have to do it. We learned it the hard way, because then that relaxed attitude comes during the work hours also. When you are working, building a business, and that to a product business, it's hard work continuous. You have to be at it day after day, and then yes, at the end of the week you're chilling and you're relaxing. But
so let's go ahead and look at some rock bottom moments which every founder faces. Because if you have not faced one, I think you are not a founder.
true.
From Thintiker's journey, what was that rock bottom moment? कि भाई अब क्या करेंगे?
Our final exit was round 2 of our attempt to exit.
Okay.
So this was happened last year in October. Round 1 started in September 22, and finally the saga ended in June 23. So 9 mahine chala pura drama. So we were reached out by this UK-based company who were in a similar business, and they were looking for a product company to acquire and essentially build a platform. And they claimed they had raised $100 million in Europe, and they were looking to do a bunch of acquisitions globally in related space and sort of create a global business aggregating some key startups in this niche domain of cloud computing and build that platform altogether. I first met their founders in Dubai in September end 23. We got a term sheet in November. We signed the term sheet. Then January, due diligence started. Feb 27, 23. I remember the date. We signed the SHA. और क्या होता है जो एक और
SHA definitive documents. Yeah.
Definitive documents. All sealed, done and dusted. So this was a very interesting model where we were getting some money upfront, not a lot. Most of it was going primary into the company, $3 million. And we were supposed to scale the company for 3 years using that money, and we would get a multiple of the scale we will achieve. So if the numbers worked out, we would have been really in a great place, right? And we were very confident because the market was there, and we had built a good business by then. We had enough traction in the market, and that's what they also liked about us, and they liked the team, etc. So, and because we are bootstrapped till now, bootstrap companies have to build a corpus, right? So you have to have a cash reserve all the time. So we had a couple of crores in cash, 1.5 crores, I think, in cash reserves, which was like, I would say, 3 months of running cost for us. So we said, ki, none of our customers pay, the business can run. So that's how we were. So we signed this in end Feb. Money is supposed to hit us by end of March, 15 to 30 days. And I said that, yeah, you have to get this going in 36 months. Meter will go down the day money comes, but let me get a head start and start hiring critical people and start building. जो भी business plan हमने लिखा था and sign off किया था, let's start executing. So immediately onboarded a new head of sales, a new head of marketing, expensive resources.
Even before you got the funds.
Even before we got the money. And we said that पैसा तो आ ही रहा है, हमारे पास cash पड़ा ही है, तो उससे अभी पहले 1-2 महीने तो हम पे ही कर लेंगे, कोई challenge नहीं है. Typically जब scale करो, hiring is the first cost that hits you, right? And started planning. पहले mid-March था, mid-March से end-March हुआ, mid-April, end-April. I started getting a bit jittery, but I was very confident. यार agreement sign किया, his guy has, their owner has come down 3 times from UK. They've done solid due diligence with a lawyer. I'm sure they would have paid a lot of money to them. Went through the whole process. June 10th is finally when they said that they don't have the money. Whatever they said they had raised were all paper commitments. And while all this was happening, the Gen AI boom had started already. And all the LP money at that time moved towards Gen AI. And we were not Gen AI, right? This whole business model was not Gen AI. So on 9th or 10th of June, I got a mail that we are not able to do this. And in that period, I practically ran through my cash reserve.
You hired in advance, yeah.
I hired in advance, did whatever I did. I really didn't know what to do after that. And I was at my wit's end. You really go up the hill and to jump off and fly away, but you're now seeing the bottom of the hill suddenly.
Yeah.
So what I did was I called up my brother. He stays in Dubai, and I just went for a week to Dubai overnight. I took a flight.
Okay.
I did nothing. I just went there and spent a week away from everything, not doing anything, not calling anything. 1 week, and I didn't. It's not that I was trying to plan or doing anything. I just took a break. From everything for everything. I came back, and then we relooked at the whole thing, did a few pivots and all, and it was really, really tough. It took us 8 to 9 months to come out of that, but the most challenging phase of our business. First time we fired people, not because of performance, let go of people who were good people. And as an entrepreneur, that hits you hard, right? That's not something you want to do ever, right? Firing people without reason.
Yeah.
So we let go quite a few people at that point.
I think that's the toughest one can go through. Yeah.
Toughest time. Mentally it was very, very challenging at phase. So I think this whole journey, 9 months trying to achieve the exit, and then next 6 months coming out of it. That's the bottom curve that we hit.
I mean, you hit the very important nail that I wanted to cover was stress and mental health, especially on this side of the story where you are building with lack of resources.
It's a challenging thing. I have no qualms saying that during this period, I have been detected medically depressed. I've had medication for depression, and I've gone through the whole journey. It's tough. Even if you're a team, running a startup, running a business is a lonely journey. And every month cycle that you have to run of collecting money, paying money, it has its own challenges. And then for me, the additional challenge was because I had worked for 15 years and had an amazing professional trajectory. Mentally, I would compare that a lot. Like, again, sometime I don't remember exactly when, maybe 22, 23, one of my ex-bosses reached out to me for a very, very senior role in a very large company. And for 15 days, I actually seriously considered that. And we shut down this and moved there.
Okay.
And then 15 days later, I said, what the hell am I doing?
Right.
So these things will happen. And thankfully, I had my hobbies, I had my family.
Very important.
I must say my wife, was thank her for the role she has played. Her business sort of sustained our lifestyle because I was taking a pittance of a salary right through this period. I wouldn't even call it subsistence salary. It was very, very less. And financially supporting, she practically raised our kids. Her support has been very, very critical. So having a very supportive spouse is also very important for an entrepreneur. Late life stage entrepreneurs like us, who are going through. Out of IIT college entrepreneurs doesn't matter, but for us it matters.
I remembered a goof up I did in school, which I can link here. So there was a debate to be done in school, or 4th, 5th, 6th class maybe. And the topic they gave to us was lady luck smile is necessary for success, where the luck was important, lady was not. But I took it in a different way, and I thought lady is important, and I kind of gave examples of how women are important as a backbone for success stories, and took a lot of examples, only to know later that I misinterpreted the topic. But I think it's the same story, right? You need to have a strong backbones in families, friends, your hobbies.
Family, friends, hobbies, your co-founders, your team. Your team has to believe in you. Like, we had a ESOP plan, you're aware of that, and thankfully a lot of people made very, very decent money out of that, and people who stayed with you reward loyalty with a good wealth creation opportunity, right?
So
that's very important.
We'll do some rapid fire with you. I'll ask you a few questions.
Sure.
Just give an instant answer, not a detailed one on it. Kind of summarize the whole discussion. And so what was your first wow moment as a founder? Maja hi aa gaya.
First wow moment, we went to Sri Lanka to do a small consulting business for $10,000.
Nice.
3 days later, we came back with a $150,000 order.
Oh, wow. What was your first or the most noob mistake you did as a founder?
I had a sales tax number, I didn't file the returns, and I got a 2 lakh penalty, which you helped us solve.
What's the worst piece of startup advice you ever got?
Worst piece of startup advice. Services is bad.
Best piece of startup advice you ever got?
Services is good, but product gets you value.
Your first thought after you knew you were getting a successful exit?
Gaadi kaun si lu?
Nice.
I've been a car lover, a automobile lover.
Yeah.
So
The best advice you will give your day zero, Sunando, to yourself now. What advice will you want to give?
have a better plan in place.
And actually, do you feel that works? I mean, I've seen people pivot so many times, and I've never seen a perfect plan executed in a startup, especially.
True, but see, one thing you have to realize, entrepreneurs like us, we start at 35, 40, late stage in life. We don't have so much opportunity of failure, right? We have to get it right, preferably the first time. So therefore, that planning and the expectation from us, see, when an IITian graduate comes out and starts a startup right out of college, or even in the first 5 years of his career, people are okay if he doesn't succeed, and a failed entrepreneur is fine. When somebody like us goes and starts something, we have assumption is this guy comes with a rich amount of experience, he knows the world, he has an understanding of the business, and therefore, if he doesn't succeed, there's something wrong with him, right? The society also sees you very differently.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I think the expectation from yourself and from the society in general, you're getting it right the first time.
Yeah.
So therefore, that planning becomes even more critical.
Yeah.
Pivot is fine. It's reaching a situation where you have to shut down your business, not so great.
Is it enough? I mean, I'm not going into numbers, but and Sunando is 1x exit now. It's serial entrepreneur who sold books as a librarian, worked in Wimpy's, and now got an exit. Is it enough, or?
Yeah, more than enough. Obviously, we have a play out in terms of we have to build the business and do a few things, and things will happen over a period of time. But financially, I think by God's grace, very comfortable place. Most importantly, I think money beyond a point, I know I'm talking from a privileged place here, but money beyond a point has no meaning. Whether you have a 7-figure exit or a 8-figure exit really doesn't matter. I'll tell you a very interesting story. I was sitting with a friend of mine. He runs a large chain of shoe outlets, 100 plus stores. I won't name which. He's my school buddy. 2 years back, he got an offer from Reliance to exit at about 500 crore valuation. Didn't take that. He went in and raised about 75-80 crores, about $10 million, and he started building the business with that. Today, his estimate is his business valued about 1,000 crores, and it's a family-owned business. No investor or koi nahi hai, right? So majority shareholding is still with them. Now, his dilemma is that he is my age, he has a kid and all that, and he's saying that if I put in another 5, 6 years, 7 years, I know I can take it to easily $1 billion valuation, do an IPO, etc. The market is huge, all the economics should it. I'm not sure whether I should do that, or I keep on getting exit offers even now. At least one comes my way every quarter, every 4 months. Should I attach myself?
Yeah.
It's a successful, good numbers business. So I told him one thing, and I told him that I can say it from where I am. Maybe you all can also see it that way, that economic impact is what we have done, and we've created wealth. And so what you have to realize is, you're saying 7 years, you also know 7 ka 10 saal kab ban jayega,
Pata nahi
chalega. After 10 years, what you're talking about delta, 1,000 crore or 8,000 crore.
Yeah.
Does that 7,000 crores really matter to you and maybe your next generation, your family? 1,000 crore bhi kuch bhi kar le, tu nahi kharcha kar payega, and come from a very simple background, middle class upbringing, etc. But now think you giving the same time back to your family. He's part of a large religious community, giving it back to your community, doing something which creates social impact and personal impact, and not business impact.
Conscious thinking,
right? I think that's what you should consider. Whether you would want to spend more time with your family, with your kid, with your parents, with your community, and let go of that potential upside. Because wealth you have generated already or created already, from my eyes, it's enough. So I put him in a dilemma. I don't know what he's thinking right now.
Yeah, I think you've again summarized it, a very subjective opinion. But I think at the end of it, it's all boiling down to what's your consciousness speaking.
I think the challenge in India and with Indians is that we attach our personal value purely to our professional success.
Yeah.
Right? Indians are too attached to their work life. Right? If you look at Europeans, I used to work for a European company बीच में, and when I would interact with my colleagues, कोई काम के बारे में नहीं बात करता. When you're having drinks after work, you're not bitching about office politics. You're talking about what activities you're doing, where you're going for a holiday. The mindset is so different, and you're really, when you're out of work, you're out of work. You're no longer. हम लोग क्या करते हैं? हम लोग बाहर दारू पीने भी जाते हैं, colleagues के बारे में बातें करते हैं, काम के बारे में बातें करते हैं, customer के बारे में बातें करते हैं. You're not able to detach ourselves from our work effectively.
True.
For us, work is everything. I see a lot of my peers who are doing very well in their professional circuit. They always think about what next, what next, what next. Looking at other facets of your life, very important, equally important.
What is your definition? Do you love what you do? And is it worth it in the end when everything of this sort comes in front of you? What is the thought process? How do you reflect on the storyline?
Yeah, love is a very strong emotion, and more than love, I think what entrepreneurs chase is impact. Right? I think that's more important. That's
the most important word.
That's the most important word, right? Either you're having a huge economic impact, or you're having a huge sectoral or technology impact, a social impact.
Yeah.
One of the areas you want to impact. What you by default do is impact the lives of many people who are associated with what you're doing. Your team, your customers, your partners, people who are actively engaged with you, your investors. So you're impacting that also. So for me, that was obviously most important. Even today, now that I'm working professionally again, impact still become, even though I'm not an entrepreneur in the truest sense, but my mindset on how I approach my day-to-day work is still absolutely entrepreneurial, and the impact part is still very critical.
True.
What impact I'm having on my team, on my company, on my customers, very important.
Yeah, I think we're moving towards the end of the discussion. So coming to the exit part of it, I always talk to founders, if you're building for exit at the start, don't start at all.
Absolutely.
What was your eureka moment of realizing, oh, now it's time? And at what juncture you thought about it?
I always knew that if you're a smart entrepreneur, you should know when the right offer is on your table. And but I was never building for exit, and you know that, right?
Yes.
We are not chasing any metrics that ye ho jayega to wo jayega. We are running it like a regular business. We are not even running it like a startup, right? It was regular kamana hai, kharcha hai, kamana hai, kharcha. Like what we were definitely, I was always cognizant about is when the right offer comes on the table, do give it a serious consideration. So when the first offer came from the UK company, it was very attractive, very much aligned with what we want to do. We went ahead with it, didn't work out. Okay. Second time around, it was one of our customers. So Yota was one of our early customers, and Yota's cloud, the cloud which they were running at that point of time was running on our platform. And so, and given the plans that they have and what we are executing now, we are being part of Yota, that as Yota we are executing right now, it was amazing. Like in a few days, our platform, what we built at Indicus, will be running Government of India's cloud. And to the day that actually starts happening, that will be a huge impact moment for me personally, also for Yota, but me and Shiv and Shitish, for us personally, it will be a huge impact moment. So truly what I'm doing right now at Yota is contributing towards nation building, and very, very few people actually get a chance to do that. Yeah. So we are lucky that way. So literally our entire discussion with Yota from initiation of offer to closure happened in 3 months, right? You were absolutely a part of it. So, and why that happened so fast? Because there's complete alignment on end goal, on the path, on what we want to achieve, 100% alignment. So when that happens, you know that this is the right home for your company. And obviously it was a offer, too good an offer to be refused. Everything aligned, and that's how we became part of the...
So you think you found the right partner while you were exiting?
Absolutely.
And a light version to that is an absolute exit is better than an exit with a little more control that's still left after you've exited?
Yeah, it depends. So if you look at what we were doing with the UK company, It was partial, right? It was more primary money coming into the company, and then you're scaling and doing it. If you're doing that, I think most important thing is you have to retain a majority control of your company while that whole earn-out model is going through. Because moment you lose control of the board and a majority of the company, you're no longer calling the shots.
Yeah.
The investor can decide to change your path, and you may not be able to achieve the earn-out goals that you want to do. If you're not doing an earn-out model, and if it's an absolute exit like ours happened, one shot is good enough, right?
One last question. Is entrepreneurship generally actually worth it?
See, honestly, the grass is always greener on the other side. Anybody who's not an entrepreneur sees that you're your own boss, you're, so many things, etc. I think entrepreneurship is purely about one thing, which is mindset. If you have an entrepreneurial mindset, you should definitely go for it. And let me just click a couple of levels deeper on what is entrepreneurial mindset. It is basically the whole vision of understanding a problem that exists and wanting to solve that so badly that you're able to create a business out of it.
Absolutely.
Right? Until unless you have that fire in you, and it's okay to not have that. It's okay to become part of something larger and work on a specialized, like you're a sales head, you're a product head, you're a delivery head, you're an operations head. You're a subject matter expert and you're doing that for a larger cause. But if you have that kida in you where you want to solve a problem so badly that you're able to create a business out of it, definitely it's a thing to be.
I'll still ask one last question.
Okay.
Is Sunando a happy soul today?
Absolutely, yeah. Money is not everything, but it's important. Yes,
Absolutely.
so that's there. More importantly, I think the exit has happened in a very interesting phase of my life. I'm going to be 50 in 3 years, and and as you can see, I've not focused on a few important part of my life. One is them being my health, and that's something I want to really start focusing on now. I've started doing a few things. Even more important is that my kids have literally grown up and had an absent father because I've been so focused on my business, and now I'm trying to spend more time with them. And in a few years they'll go to college. They're in 10th right now, so I'm seeing that I'm able to reprioritize things in my life before it is too late. And that's what I tell a lot of my peers, that you have to look at these facets. And most of us, when you're in the rut, we forget that these things are also important.
So I think it has been valuable insight to know your start to scale and then a sale journey also. But I think more than that, personally, I loved this chat to know founder mindset more, because you never get to know such things unless you sit and chat about few things outside what exactly you are doing.
And likewise, for me to dig deeper and think and
absolutely.
talk about these things also opens up your
reflections are always good.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Sunando, for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Such a valuable session for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.